So if you guys remember, there was a candidate who ran for senator that the left was all on board with a few years back. His name was John Fetterman. Despite looking like kind of a monkey man of sorts, he still managed to capture a lot of people on the left's attention by being very populist, talking about the issues that are affecting the average American in a very in-your-face kind of way, and really avoiding any kind of respectability politics. The right hated him, and they rallied against him hard, and yet he still won his run for Senate. And for a while, things were good. Lefties were really happy to see someone who seemed to be a genuine progressive sitting and representing them in the Senate. But then he had a stroke. And for a while, things were still normal. But a little while afterwards, he started to switch up his politics. He started to get a lot more conservative, and he started to actively sabotage the Democratic Party, while also paying lip service for Israel's atrocities against Palestinians. And when I say paying lip service, I don't mean saying, well, Israel shouldn't be destroyed because of what it's done. Not like any milquetoast thing. I mean like outright justifying what Israel's doing to Palestinians. Like, he is hardcore on it and enjoys upsetting pro-Palestine activists on social media. It's like one of his favorite pastimes. So, John Fetterman, he was this tall, cool guy, big, big, bulky guy, we'll call him, not muscular. Big, bulky guy who seemed to represent left-wing ideas, and he was in the Senate. He did end up having that stroke, but for the most part, things seemed fine. But his politics got bad. Many like to blame it on the stroke. I don't blame it on the stroke, Blind Entertainment. I've corrected people on this before in chat. I'm with you on this, Blind Entertainment. I don't believe it has anything to do with the stroke, besides maybe Fetterman seeing it as a sign that his mortality is a bit more of a problem, and maybe he wants to try and, grift in his last few years on Earth. Who knows? But he had a big old stroke, and shortly after became a grifter. You can theorize the path yourself if you want to. I won't tell you what happened, because I don't know what happened. But he is completely 180'd politically. He is the biggest dino in the Democratic Party right now. He is more or less a proud Republican. Like, he's basically MAGA at this point. But he ran as a populist, basically socialist candidate. This has been a fear of a lot of people as of late, that, perhaps Graham Plattner will end up being the next Fetterman, that lefties will hardcore support him despite all the red flags, and then once he's in power, all those red flags will turn out to have been real, and we'll all think to ourselves, how did we not see this coming? Make no mistake, there were red flags with Fetterman too, which is a big reason why I don't want to just blame it on the stroke, because it really just does seem like Fetterman knew how to sucker progressives into voting for him, while simultaneously appealing to normie, middle-class, working-class people. Well, I assume you also heard about the fact that Fetterman was one of the 7 Democrats who voted with Republicans to reopen the government, essentially guaranteeing that now millions of Americans will no longer be able to afford their health care that was previously covered by the ACA, because their premiums are going to multiply anywhere from 4 to 5 times. Yeah, there are a lot of reasons to have a problem with John Fetterman right now, and that is just a couple reasons. That was in no way an exhaustive breakdown of the situation. And the reason why I tell you all of this is to make sure you know what the right reaction to have is when I tell you this headline. John Fetterman suffers injuries to face from fall and is hospitalized. This happened, I kid you not, 10 minutes ago. This news came out literally 10 minutes ago. According to a Fetterman spokesperson, the Pennsylvania Democrat was transported to a Pittsburgh hospital out of an abundance of caution, quote-unquote. Quote, during an early morning walk, Senator Fetterman sustained a fall near his home in Braddock, the spokesperson said. Quote, upon evaluation, it was established that he had a ventricular fibrillation flare-up that led to Senator Fetterman feeling lightheaded, falling to the ground, and hitting his head with minor injuries. So I'm guessing that means he had like a jitter in his heart, and he had low blood flow for a second, and it was like when you stand up too fast and the blood rushes to your head, he got lightheaded and fucking fell. Dude, this is a guy who's already had a stroke, and now he's falling while he's taking a walk outside his house. Yeah, irregular heartbeat. Yeah, his heart just had a bit of a jitter. It lagged. The spokesperson also noted that Fetterman made a self-depreciating joke about his face following the fall. "If you thought my face looked bad before, wait until you see it now," Fetterman said in a statement. I mean, look, I don't know how long we're going to be seeing your face, man. It doesn't look like your health is letting you get by. Fetterman returned home after voting with Senate Republicans on Monday evening to reopen the government. He has since been doing a series of media appearances to coincide with the Tuesday release of his memoir, Unfettered, which details his experiences with clinical depression following his 2022 stroke and subsequent start of his term in Washington. I want to say this. I don't know if I believe in anything spiritual like karma, for instance, but if there was anything that could possibly lead to karma, it could make me believe that karma exists, it would be something like this. John Fetterman just threw all of his constituents and all of his colleagues under the bus in order to ally up with the Republicans, who are actively, at that time, refusing to fund programs like SNAP that allowed millions of Americans to be fed, allied with them to reopen the government in order for the Republicans to pass a bill that will raise premiums on the Affordable Care Act, essentially meaning millions of Americans get priced out of having health care. John Fetterman, complicit in millions of Americans starving, followed by now being complicit in millions of Americans losing health care. I'm not saying I believe in anything spiritual, but I will say, if there was karma or some kind of universal balance or trend towards justice, nobody would deserve it more right now. Well, many people would, but there are a few people right now that would deserve something like tripping and falling and busting their face outside their house after doing such things right now than John Fetterman. Like, bro might have pissed off God. I'm just saying, like, if God exists, he might be pissed. He might have just punished homeboy. If the universe is sentient and karma exists, it is very possible that, maybe a finger was put on the scale to tip things there. If there is a God, he has a wicked sense of humor. I mean, listen, guys. Charlie Kirk was literally just finishing saying that gun violence is... He was finishing up addenduming onto his point that gun violence is okay if it means we get to keep our guns, but that the majority of it is done by gangs anyway, so it's separate from the idea of gun violence as it's often discussed. As he was mic dropping from that point, a 30-06 went through his neck. Now, if that is not an intelligent being divinely, just deciding to make that entire situation as ironic as possible, I don't know what is. Because keep in mind, the shooter could not have possibly heard Charlie Kirk from their position, not even a little. So unless they were reading his lips and realized he had said something about gun violence and realized it would be the most ironic time for him to get shot and decide to take the shot then, I don't know. The coincidences can sometimes be a little too extreme for me to believe there's not a certain level of intelligent writing to this amazing, sprawling story that we call life. Zan, dude, don't forget the critical conditions of Jordan Peterson and David Prager, too, right now. I forgot, yeah, Jordan Peterson and David Prager are also, basically on their deathbeds right now. And I don't know, guys, it's very possible Trump could end up on his deathbed any day now, because bro's health is not looking good. Like I said in my last segment at the end of that, now is not a time to be doomering. If there's ever been a time to be positive and bloomer about politics, now is probably that time. Anyway, though, if you like this segment, if you found it entertaining, enjoyable, educational, leave a like, a comment down below, hype the video, subscribe if you want to see more from me, support the stream by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website if you want to support me there, or through YouTube if you want to do it through there. It really does help a lot. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.